Welcome to Remedy and Rhyme, where the voices of poetry and plants entwine, offering nourishment for the spirit and a gentle return to the heart of nature. I'm your host, Kimberly Kling of Joyful Roots, clinical and community herbalist. I'm so glad you've joined me here to share in the stories, reflections, and simple ways these green allies can nurture our everyday lives. This podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a medical doctor or a licensed health professional, and nothing shared here is intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. The information provided has not been evaluated by the FDA. Herbs are powerful allies, but not without personality. If you experience an allergic reaction or discomfort from any herb mentioned, please stop using it. Also, if you're taking medications, check with your doctor about potential herb-drug interactions. Most importantly, you and you alone are the steward of your own body. What you choose to consume, apply, or integrate is entirely up to you. This is about health empowerment, listen with curiosity, and always honor your own body's wisdom. These episodes are dropped the second Wednesday of every month, and to go along with this podcast, I have a Patreon community where you can join me to explore these plants deeper. Find that at patreon.com/joyfulroots. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Remedy and Rhyme. In this episode, we're going to search for some softness and lean into love with our dear friend, Marshmallow. I'll start with a poem. This poem is called Choose Love, and it was written by me. The air today is a cool drink. Shadows cast on cascading streams. Marshmallow, rose, honeysuckle, iris. Bird song drips over my back. Stories spill from the stones when I make eyes in the palms of my hands, seeing with my feet, sending hugs to their roots through a grounded, steady presence. Feet planted in damp soil after rain, the land blooms open like parasols in the wind. They hear my pain, they feel my joy, they see my questions, they touch my soul. It's all around you, the answers. It's as simple as choosing love. Oh, the sweet softness of marshmallow. And I'm talking about the plant, not the confection, but Althaea officinalis, this beautiful, soft plant that grows at the water's edge. In this episode, we're mainly going to talk about her roots, although the whole plant can really be used herbally. Marshmallow root finds her home in the low, wet places like the riverbanks, the margins, the soft, dark earth that holds water long after the rest of the land has moved on. And this gives us an indication as to how marshmallow root acts herbally. There's wisdom in their choice of home. In our modern culture, we've inherited a story that says that to survive, you must harden, that calluses are earned, that tough love is more real than tender love. Marshmallow root has been living in the margins for thousands of years, used in medicine since ancient Egypt and Greece, and this plant has outlasted empires by staying soft. Marshmallow teaches us that softness is not fragility. Softness is resilience through yielding, like water that carves the canyon, not by being harder than stone, but by showing up consistently, gently, over time. Reflected in where she chooses to grow, Marshmallow's root is a gift of moisture. This pale root is full of mucilage, a slippery, slimy, deeply soothing gel that coats whatever it touches. In a way, it seems to be saying, nothing harsh is getting through my protective barrier. I'll protect you by being soft. It seems like a paradox, but as I said earlier, toughness is not the only way that protection can occur. Marshmallow is a perennial who doesn't need replanting season after season. Her roots spread slowly, quietly, holding the soil and preventing erosion, holding the banks of the rivers together, while she appears to do nothing dramatic above ground. The most important work is happening underground, unseen. If I really think about it, it seems like some of the most protective things in life aren't actually hard. They're soft. like offering a hand to hold, or a listening ear, or a cool drink when it's blazing hot outside. A soft answer when someone expects a sharp one. Softness, like mucilage, creates a barrier through gentleness rather than force. It's like being wrapped in a comfy cloud of protection. It's like how the damp, soft rains that sink into the soil make way for wildflowers. In herbal terms, marshmallow root is one of our most profound moistening herbs, what we call demulcent. Marshmallow relieves dryness and soothes irritated tissues, inflamed passages, or the raw and scraped feeling places inside the body. This demulcent quality is what brings forward the softness. Marshmallow doesn't fight the fire with more fire, she brings water to the places that are burning. Think about the dry season of life. Grief that makes you feel hollow, relationships where all the softness has evaporated, the rough, chafed feeling of being in conflict with yourself for too long. Marshmallow Root asks, what if the answer to that fiery drive isn't more grit or more hardness or more pushing through, but softness and moisture, a drink of something tender? The Latin genus name of marshmallow is Althaea, from the Greek althainein, simply beautifully meaning to heal. Her full botanical name, Althaea officinalis, essentially means the healer of the official record. Marshmallow was named into the pharmacopoeia of the ancient world, not because someone hoped that she might heal or because she healed under the right conditions. The name wasn't aspirational, it was observational. Marshmallow earned that name simply by being who she was. There's something in that worth sitting with, too. The Greeks named plants for their nature, not their potential. And this plant's nature, her whole nature, root to flower, was to soothe what is raw, to coat what's irritated, and to bring moisture to what has gone dry. Marshmallow doesn't have to try to do that. All she does is show up. Her name carries a myth, too. In Greek legend, Althaea was a queen who learned at her son's birth that he would only live as long as a certain piece of wood burning in the hearth remained unconsumed. She didn't fight the fates with weapons, she didn't argue or bargain. She simply reached into the fire, pulled out the log, and hid it in the soft, dark earth beneath the palace. Quietly and tenderly, she placed what she loved out of reach of the thing that could destroy it. That's the energy that marshmallow carries. It's not protection through force, it's protection through softness. Love expressed not as power, but as shelter. And the Greeks knew the plant this way, not only as a healer of the living, but actually as a companion of the dead as well. In ancient Greece, tending the dead was a sacred duty. Families returned to graves with food, with oil, with offerings of water and honey, because love didn't end at the threshold of death. It continued. It kept showing up, and sometimes they planted things above the ground of their beloved dead, living, rooted things like marshmallow, not as a decoration, but rather as a devotion, as a way of saying, I'm still here and I'm still caring for you. Marshmallow was one of these plants. If you think about what they were choosing, marshmallow is not a showy flower, not something that would blaze bright and then fade. They chose the soft, pale, moisture holding, perennial healer, this plant that comes back year after year quietly without much drama, and it has these roots that spread into the dark earth, holding things together below the surface. They planted marshmallow where grief lives because marshmallow is exactly what grief needs. Not a fix or an answer, but the creation of conditions like softness, nourishment, and presence. These conditions in which something can continue. Marshmallow can't undo death. She was never asked to. She was asked only to make it a softer place to land. That is what choosing love is like. That's the beauty way, not the heroic act of a grand gesture, but the quiet, perennial returning, the willingness to keep tending even when tending feels like all you have left, to plant something tender at the hardest threshold, to say with your hands in the soil, I'm still here and I'm still caring for you. The plants have always known this. Marshmallow has always known this, and these plants have been showing us the way for a very long time. All right, now let's come back into the body because marshmallow root doesn't just carry beautiful symbolism. Marshmallow delivers in a way that is completely consistent with everything we've just said about her nature. She's soft, she's persistent, and she shows up exactly where things are raw. Marshmallow's gifts to us humans primarily are in the roots in her mucilage, although the entire plant contains this softness and this moistening quality. But the mucilage is a complex web of polysaccharides that, when they meet water, become something kind of gel-like, slippery, and profoundly coating. This is not some sort of accident of chemistry. It's plant intelligence, and it helps marshmallow to hold water the way that good soil holds water, kind of slowly, deeply, and being able to release it where it's needed. Along with the mucilage, there's also pectin, which supports gut integrity and gentle detoxification. There's also flavonoids, which are kind of quietly anti-inflammatory. They're alloys that work in the background. And phenolic acids that contribute to wound tending and have an antioxidant nature. Marshmallow is also unusually rich in asparagine, an amino acid that supports tissue repair. None of these constituents are loud and heroic. They don't force anything to happen. Instead, they're creating conditions for repair and balance. This is just like this soft kind of loving touch that is the through line of this plant, from its root to its chemistry. As I've mentioned, if there's one thing that marshmallow root was born to do, it's this: coat, soothe, and protect the mucous membranes that line our inner world. Think of your body's interior landscape from the back of your throat all the way through the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and then out again. That entire passage is lined with mucous membranes, and that membrane can become inflamed, irritated, raw, and kind of feeling scraped from a remarkable number of causes, like maybe excess acid, stress, infection, poor diet, certain medications, or simply the accumulated friction of a hard season of life. Clinically, this makes marshmallow invaluable for things like acid reflux, gastritis, esophageal irritation, IBD, IBS, and urinary tract irritation. Any place inside us that's hot, dry, raw, or inflamed is a place where marshmallow can help. Modern research has also shown us that marshmallow root is a strong prebiotic. Her polysaccharides, the same ones that are responsible for all the soothing mucilage, are food for the beneficial bacteria that live in our guts. So marshmallow isn't just coating the gut lining, she's actually tending to the ecosystem within it. She's feeding the community of microbes that, when well nourished, keep inflammation low, nutrient absorption high, and mood more stable than most people realize. Your gut microbiome is one of the most profound inner gardens that you tend, and marshmallow root is like laying down good mulch. She's creating the moist, nourishing conditions in which the right things can grow. For anyone working with dysbiosis, leaky gut, post-antibiotic recovery, or sluggish digestion, marshmallow's prebiotic dimension is worth understanding, because marshmallow isn't just soothing the surface, she's rebuilding the soil. I've talked a lot about hydration in my content, and when we think of hydration, water is usually the first thing that comes to mind, but marshmallow root invites us to think about hydration a little bit differently, as a quality of our tissues, not just the quantity of our fluid intake. Tissues can be chronically dry at a cellular level, even when someone drinks adequate water. This shows up as dry eyes, dry skin, dry cough, dry mucous membranes throughout the whole digestive and respiratory tracts, and a general quality of brittleness. In traditional herbal frameworks, this is a pattern of excess dryness, and marshmallow root is one of the finest remedies we have for it. Marshmallow doesn't just add water, it helps tissues hold water. Marshmallow's mucilage acts as a kind of biological moisture reservoir, slowing the drying that inflammation and stress accelerate. If you work with clients who feel constitutionally dry, or you yourself feel constitutionally dry, marshmallow root is foundational, not just symptomatic relief, but it works at the root level. And here's another tidbit. This one sometimes surprises people, but marshmallow root is not only an herb that's really beneficial internally. Marshmallow has a long history of topical use on wounds, burns, bruises, inflamed skin, things like that. And modern research is also beginning to confirm what herbalists of the past have known for generations from observation. Marshmallow's mucilage creates a protective film over damaged tissue, which reduces friction and environmental insult, while the body does the repair work. So, marshmallow's phenolic compounds and flavonoids bring anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial action alongside that protection. And her asparagine content supports the tissue building phase of wound healing. As a poultice, marshmallow is gentle enough for delicate or sensitive skin, typically, and can also be used as a wash for similar purposes. Marshmallow root protects the vulnerable places in our bodies, while time and the body's own wisdom does the work. So I'd like to end this chapter of the podcast by briefly mentioning that marshmallow root is considered a very safe herb. It's typically tolerated by most people, but her mucilage does coat the digestive tract, so marshmallow may slow the absorption of certain medications, especially if taken at the same time. It's best practice to space marshmallow from any pharmaceutical medications by a couple of hours to make sure they're not in the digestive tract at the same time. And of course, if you are on medications or have a health condition or are pregnant or nursing, please consult with your healthcare provider before introducing a new herb. So we've learned about marshmallow root's nature and how marshmallow tends to our raw, wounded places with softness and love. So let's finish with a few thoughts and reflections, and feel free to journal these if you'd like. You can also join me over on Patreon for a printable version of these journal questions. Are there areas in your life where you've perhaps been trying to push through with force, and instead you realized that maybe a soft touch would help those areas heal better? Is there anything in your life, like a relationship, a creative practice, a part of yourself that has quietly dried out and is waiting for moisture to return? Where in your life is love asking you to keep showing up, even when it's hard, not with grand gestures, but with the quiet, perennial type of returning? Do you have a soft place to land in your life right now? If yes, what or who is it? If not, what's one small thing that you could create or move towards that would offer that quality? I hope this episode has offered you a little bit of a soft place to land. Thanks for being here. See you next time. And in the meantime, join me over on Patreon at patreon.com/joyfulroots. I am so excited to keep sharing the wisdom of plants and poetry with all of you. If you enjoy this journey and would like to help support this podcast, whether energetically, financially, or just by sharing it with a friend, I would be so grateful. Your support helps to keep this space alive, allows me to continue exploring new herbs, crafting new episodes, and sharing inspiration with you. One of the easiest ways to support this podcast is to rate and review it in your favorite podcast app. You can also join our Remedy and Rhyme Patreon page, which is available at patreon.com/joyfulroots. You'll find all sorts of goodies there, including plant stories, recipes, and more. There is a free membership, but if you are able to help support the podcast, there are some great perks with the paid memberships. And also, I have a shop on Patreon where you can easily purchase educational material like a class or a Zine and further your own herbal knowledge. Another way that you can support the podcast is by getting yourself some of the most amazing matcha on the planet. It's Posana matcha. It's certified, organic, third-party tested to ensure that it's free of heavy metals, pure, safe, and absolutely delicious. This is the matcha that I always turn to because I know it's the highest quality and I just love it so much. So I'm excited that I can offer everybody that listens to this podcast 15% off if you use the coupon code JoyfulRoots. You can find the link in the show notes or head to posana.net, that's posana.net, and use the coupon code JoyfulRoots at checkout. Although I love sharing my poetry with you, I really would love to make this a community collaborative effort. So don't be shy. Feel free to send some poetry in my way, and I'm going to keep a running list of plants that I'd like to talk about in the future. You can find that list on my website at joyfulroots.com/plantpoems. That's PLANTPOEMS. Thank you to Ikun Baradine for their music Bedtime After a Coffee, which was in the intro and outro, and also to Lights by Sakura Girl, and Asher Fulero for Exploring the Crystal Caves, which was the music you heard in the middle of the podcast. And thank you so much to the plants #1, the greatest of all herbal teachers, to all of the herbalists that I've learned from. There's just too many to name. And for all of my family and friends for supporting me on this podcast journey. And to all of my amazing patrons and customers and clients, this really wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you again.